Hello, and welcome to Nuts About Baseball, a podcast that will entertain you with discussions involving everything baseball. I'm your host, Joe Grimme, and I appreciate you joining me. Sit back, relax, and enjoy as I share my passion for the sport we call America's pastime. Welcome, everyone, to this episode of Nuts About Baseball. I am your host, Joe Grimme, and I want to wish each and every one of you a happy opening day. It is March 26th. It is the morning. It is raining, but it's going to clear up, and we're going to get a fabulous day out there in Cincinnati to watch the Reds battle the Boston Red Sox in another spectacular opening day in this town. I'm going to talk about the spring training summary. I'm going to wrap up this year's spring training for you, talk about the team overall, some individual statistics, and then I'm going to move on and talk about a few thoughts for the 2026 regular season. If you haven't followed spring training, that's understandable. Some people say it's useless. Some people say it means nothing. Is it useless? No, you have to have it. Does it mean nothing? No, I think it means something, but I don't think it's a telltale sign of what is to come. It's a helpful indicator, and that's what I'm going to use it as today. So let's get right into it. The Reds this year in spring training out in Arizona went 14-17. That was near the bottom of the Cactus League. They were technically 9.5 games behind the Los Angeles Dodgers. That doesn't mean a whole lot, of course. What concerns me a little bit is that they had a minus 27 run differential. What that means is that they gave up 27 more runs than they scored. That's not good. Now, let's talk about the team overall. Amongst the National League teams, now this is taking into consideration both the Cactus League out in Arizona and the Grapefruit League that plays down in Florida. Promising is that the Reds led all National League teams with 55 home runs hit. That's great. They were fourth overall in runs batted in. This is impressive. The .499 slugging percentage, first overall. Their team batting average was .268. That was fifth overall. And the on-base percentage was right in about the middle at seventh, and that was a .369 clip. Now, individual performances, Matt McLain off the charts. The guy just lit it up. He had a batting average of .509. He played in 18 games. He had 27 hits. He had 7 home runs and 16 RBIs. I've said this many, many times. If he can bounce back this year to show the form that he had before his injury, this could be special for this team. Another impressive stint was Sal Stewart. Very, very excited to see him have a full season with the big club. His batting average this spring season was .327. That was third overall on the team. In 20 games, Sal had 16 hits, 3 home runs, and 8 RBIs. Reese Hines had a good spring, but he didn't make the big league ball club, so, not much reason to talk a whole lot about him. He did hit .410. He had 5 home runs and 11 RBIs, which is pretty impressive. How about our superstar shortstop, Elly De La Cruz? He batted .275. He had 3 home runs and 13 RBIs. He did strike out like he usually does. He had 15 strikeouts and 51 at-bats. Another mainstay in center field, TJ Friedl, promising spring. He hit .326. Noelvi Marte, he did fine. His batting average was a little low at .236, but he did hit 4 home runs and he had 12 RBIs. Let's briefly talk about our new acquisitions over the offseason. Eugenio Suarez, he only had 22 at-bats, mainly because of his participation in the World Baseball Classic, which was phenomenal, by the way. JJ Bleday, nice spring. He hit .317. He had 4 home runs, and he had 11 RBIs. Another outfielder, Dane Myers, he also hit well, .324. Only had 1 home run and 5 RBIs, but he's not really there for power numbers. And then finally, Nathaniel Lowe, primarily going to be a first baseman. He hit .256, had 3 home runs and 8 RBIs. Not a bad showing for these pickups. They were pretty affordable, so I would love to see them contribute. And if so, then it was a pretty good bargain to pick those guys up in the offseason. What does that mean for Spencer Steer? Well, I don't know. The thing that I don't love about Spencer is that, unfortunately, he hasn't really figured out his true identity on this team. He's bounced around been very versatile, which has been a positive, but he just hasn't found a home. Last year, it was first base for the most part, but I think Sal Stewart takes over there this year, as well as potentially Nathaniel Lowe. What's concerning about Spencer is that maybe he's declining. He only hit 200 this spring, one home run, 5 RBIs, and that was in 19 games. So I think he's slotted in left field for now, but I'm not sure that he's going to be able to hold that position. He's got to keep producing and getting hits and knocking in people if he wants to stay in the starting lineup. Unfortunately for him, I think he may be destined to be that proverbial utility man, but it's not a bad guy to have in that role because you always need that because you're going to have injuries. You're going to have the need to put someone in late in games and whatever it might be. Spencer, I think, is potentially our utility guy of the future. What really concerns me is Tyler Stevenson. I've said this a lot and I mean it and I'm saying it again. His batting performance is just not what we need at the catching position. I understand that there aren't a ton of catchers that are phenomenal hitters, but this guy has always had that P word, potential, to be a superstar. I mean, at one point, he was looked at as our power threat. I don't think he is anymore. Of course, with the addition of Gino Suarez, Tyler is going to struggle if he continues his ways like he did in the spring. He only hit 175 this spring. 1 home run, 3 RBIs. What really scares me is that in 40 at-bats, he struck out 17 times. That's almost a 50% strikeout rate. That number is going to get you sent down to AAA. So not sure what's going to happen with him. I wouldn't mind seeing Jose Trevino get more playing time. This spring, he hit 308, which is pretty impressive. He had 3 home runs and 6 RBIs. And what's even better is that in almost as many at-bats, just one less than Stevenson at 39, Trevino only struck out 4 times. So that's the hitting.
Moto Federation is a DIY communal workspace and social lounge. We provide the tools, facility, and supplies for you to work on your own motorcycle. Beyond the workshop, we have a social lounge where members can meet to exchange ideas, share knowledge, attend workshops, and view product demonstration. We are a rider's facility dedicated to learning, teaching, and repairing and restoring motorcycles. We embrace all forms of motorcycling, from scooters to trikes and everything in between. Learn more at motofed.com.
Let's talk about the pitching. I hate to say that I saved the bad news for last, but in essence, I think I sort of did. The Reds team ERA this spring was a whopping 6.47. That is second to last, only to the pathetic Colorado Rockies. The Reds gave up the second most hits overall. They gave up the third most home runs. Now, what is somewhat promising is that they were second overall in strikeouts, but unfortunately, they were also second overall in walks. Concerning as well, last in WHIP, and that's somewhat similar to ERA, walks plus hits divided by innings pitched. And then finally, they were second to last in opponents' batting average. Those numbers are scary, and I'm not sure what's going to happen as we start the season, but unfortunately, we've got 2 starting pitchers on the injured list. One, as you probably all know, Hunter Green. He's out until July with an elbow issue. And just recently, Nick Lodolo went on the IL with a blister problem. So what does that leave us as our starting rotation? Well, today we're going to see Andrew Abbott. In the spring, he had 17.2 innings. He gave up 28 hits and, oh my, 11.72 ERA. That's scary. What's even worse, batters hit 359 against him this spring. Okay, we move to the next starting pitcher, Brady Singer. Had a quick hiccup of a blister issue as well, but he's back and he's going to be in the rotation. This spring, he had 16.2 innings. He gave up 20 hits, had a 5.40 ERA, not good, and opponents batted 308 against him, also not good. Slotted as our third starter or second starter, not sure what rotation will have, but is Rhett Lauder. He's coming back from an injury, and he had 15 innings this spring. Pretty good performances, 17 hits, a 3.60 ERA, which is very respectable, and opponents batted .270 against Rhett. Next, we have Chase Burns. He had a decent spring, 17 innings, gave up 14 hits, an ERA of 4.76, and batters hit .219 against him. What is very promising is the last guy in this rotation at this point, and that's Brandon Williamson. He also is coming back from injury. He threw 16.1 innings this spring, only gave up 12 hits, had a remarkable 1.65 ERA, and batters only hit .203 against him. As you may have seen in the news, we were going to start the season with 6 starting pitchers in our rotation. But then, like I said, Hunter Greene went down, and now Nick Lodolo went down. So we're going to go with 5. And then what happens when Lodolo comes back, which I hope is very soon? Do they go with 6 starters, or do they keep the 4 best and then put that 5th guy in the bullpen? Only time will tell, and I can only hope the injury bug stays away. So last but not least, we're going with the bullpen. It's a very small sample size when you look at these guys individually. Overall, I think our best reliever this spring was Sam Maul. He had the most innings, 11, which isn't a lot. Pretty good numbers, 1.64 ERA, and batters hit a paltry 167 against him. Connor Phillips was next in innings pitched for relievers with just 10. His ERA was much higher at a 6.30. Batters hit 222 against him, so that's a little more telling of having some success. And finally, Emilio Pagan, our closer, he only threw 7 innings, but his ERA was not good, 9.00. His batting average opponents is .281. So I look to see him return to the form that he had last year where he collected 32 saves and had a 2.88 ERA. I think he's going to be fine, so I'm not too worried about that. A few notes about the new guys we picked up. We were pretty excited about these guys, and, they did okay. We'll see what happens as the season shakes out. Not much to talk about innings-wise. Pierce Johnson, 7.2 innings. ERA was a little high, 5.87, but the batters only hit .233 against him, which I like to see. Brock Burke, he only threw 7 innings. His ERA was not good, 15.43. Batters hit .394 against Burke. That's not good. And finally, Caleb Ferguson. The Reds are really excited about this guy, but he got hurt. He's on the injured list, and so we will not know how he's going to perform until he hopefully comes back in the soon near future. Tony Santillan, Graham Ashcraft, not a lot of time this spring, but let's hope that they continue to pitch the way they did last year and help the bullpen to get to that 9th inning and see Pagan get in there for the save. It's tough to assess these relievers because each of them had little work overall. It is what it is, and that's how we have to just take a look at the summary and then move on to the regular season for 2026. What are my thoughts? Well, take a look around on the internet, watch TV, listen to podcasts. One major projection website, it's called Pacoda. They rank the teams and they predict standings, and they say the Reds should win around 78 games. Unfortunately, they have them finishing 4th place and even having the Pirates above us. Not sure I agree with that, but Fangraphs, another popular website, also says that the Reds are going to win 78 games. Last is CBS that I looked at. They've got the Reds winning 80.5. Obviously, they can't win a half a game, but the bottom line is around 81 games, and that's 500. What are my thoughts? Well, you may care, you may not, but I'm going to give them to you anyway. With the addition of Suarez, I think our hitting is absolutely going to be better. He simply adds a bat in the lineup that people should be scared of. It's added power. It's protection for those that bat around him. And, hopefully he's going to knock some balls out of Great American Ballpark, which is supposedly a hitter-friendly park. Our pitchers simply need to stay healthy. If they do this, I think it's the best pitching staff in the National League Central Division from top to bottom. If we can go 500 until July when Hunter Greene gets back, and if he can return to the form that he had last year, I will be thrilled. My prediction, I think the Reds go over 500. I think they finish with 84 wins. I think they get a wild card spot in the playoffs like last year, but I think they do it a little more impressively. Although I think they make the playoffs, I don't think they'll make a deep run, just like last year. Nonetheless, I think we're in for an exciting season, provided everybody or most of them can stay healthy. I love this team. I think the atmosphere is great. Tito Francona hopefully has these guys in the right spot mentally, and I'm excited to see what they can do. Again, happy opening day to all of you, regardless of where you're going to be, if it's down at the banks, at the ballpark, at a bar, or at home. Be safe, have fun, and go Reds.